Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
Yo.
episode 3 at the Dish Podcast. You can find us everywhere you find your favorite podcasts: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. I think that's it. Those 4. So maybe not everywhere, but the 4 main
Everything's
ones.
just at the Dish Podcast.
That's right.
Sorry to cut you off right there.
That's okay.
Again.
Just do it. Just cut me off, man.
All right. I was wondering, is that a D-backs jersey you're wearing?
It is a D-backs jersey I'm wearing. I thought it was fitting because I don't know if you saw it, but the Diamondbacks came out and they retooled their jerseys a little bit for next year.
Those look nice.
After I think they just did it like 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It seems like every 2 years the Diamondbacks are shifting just a little bit on their jerseys.
Just a tad. It looks super clean though. I love the look of their new jerseys. The aqua trim. Really, I feel like it's very, very clean. Very clean. Really suits them, I feel like.
Yeah, the aqua trim is nice. I'm actually sad when I bought this one, which was I think 2018. I've regretted not buying. They had like the white one with a little bit of the aqua trim on it at the time.
Those jerseys are clean.
But I wanted the Jake Lamb jersey, and I think this is the only one they had.
Rake Lamb,
MLB The Show 17, 18, 19 legend.
Is he still playing?
He was on a couple teams last year. I think he spent some time with the Angels at one point. I know 2 years ago he was on like 4 teams. He's on the White Sox. He came and played for the Jays for a few games, the Dodgers, but hasn't really been productive.
That's what's up.
He had 0.1 WAR last year, so he's positive WAR, you know.
Hey, we take that. That's a good player right there.
OPS plus of 65. Yes, in 2023 he played 18 games.
That hurts.
For the Angels.
That hurts a bit.
Since 2020, he has played for Arizona, Oakland, the White Sox, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Mariners, and the Angels. So he's kind of bouncing around.
Journeyman Jake Lamb.
Journeyman Jake.
I like that nickname. I hope he gets back to his form though. That'd be great if he could get back to his form.
Yeah, I feel like, a lefty bat with pop off the bench is not a bad thing to have, but
yeah, Angels have really never had a lefty bat with pop in it. I don't think they've ever had one of those.
Yeah, they're definitely not. Definitely not. They definitely won't next year. So, or
yeah,
this year, this coming year.
Never had one that could also pitch either. Definitely never had one of those.
Pitch well. So
he did pitch very well. Speaking of which, unanimous MVP Shohei.
Unanimous MVP Ronald Acuna Jr.
When's the last time that's happened?
I don't know if it's ever happened before. I don't think it had ever happened that unanimous in the same year for both leagues.
That's crazy. What a crazy year by both of them. And imagine Shohei playing like the last month. Imagine what kind of numbers he put up.
It would have been unreal. The crazy thing is that imagine Corey Seager playing the first month. Like,
that's a good point too. Like, that's a great point.
If either one of those guys played the whole year, I mean, obviously, like Shohei was going to win it pretty much no matter what. Almost like by the All-Star break, it seemed. But Seager,
really did.
Seager made a run for it. I'll say, like, if you had another month worth of whatever his stats were,
fantastic year. I mean, 1,000 OPS plus a 170. A lot of people, I think I've heard a couple people say that he was robbed. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think Corey Seager would have had to pop like 20 bombs in September if he wanted to get any first place vote. But even so,
yeah, robbed is a strong viewpoint on it. I don't know if I would say he was robbed. You could maybe argue a case that somebody could have voted him, give him a first place vote. But
yeah, I can't say that. Like, I've just heard a couple people. I've seen a couple people on Twitter, but that's Twitter. So you're going to find all sorts of takes on Twitter. I think Shohei was easily the MVP, and it's going to be tough for wherever he signs. It seems like you have to beat him to get MVP. If Shohei is healthy on the mound and at the plate for a whole year, it's almost like, how do you beat that for MVP?
I don't know how Ohtani is not going to win MVP every year if he plays 3/4 of the year, pitches as well as he has, hits as well as he has. Like,
it's almost impossible.
You got to break some sort of crazy record. Like, you'd have to hit 75 home runs, maybe. Like, some Judge
you have to at least hit 60. Yeah, Judge had a great year too, despite like missing some time. He still got votes. He played 106 games, still had 37 bombs. That's ridiculous, man. And 88 walks. That's a lot of walks in just 106 games. I can't really blame anyone. And now I'm looking at the leaderboard, and JP Crawford led the league in walks. That's just something random that I saw. How
weird. I think the Jays probably walked Aaron Judge like 20 times the last 2 series we played against him.
Smart, man. Smart.
We were desperately trying
to
cling to a playoff spot. And we said, we don't want you to beat us, Aaron Judge. We'll let, Volpe or somebody else beat us, but not you.
Yeah, there was no one else in that Yankee lineup that's really scary, as scary as Judge.
Not anymore. I mean, Stanton maybe like a couple years ago, but not anymore.
Man,
really.
I love watching him hit bombs, but it seems like it's almost over.
Yeah, he's got crazy pop still, and like hits the ball so hard when he gets a hold of it. But he just, I don't know. I feel like he's like been kind of injured the last few years too. But watching him run the bases is just so tough to watch.
It's demoralizing. It's so rough, man. It's so rough. It's just like if he hits the ball in the gap, they're just like, take it easy. Just stop it first. It's fine.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you just played a player's strengths. Don't make him do too much. Hope he gets a hold of one.
I agree. Yeah, it goes a long way still.
So your boy, Ronald Acuna Jr., unanimous NL MVP, coming off 41 and 74.
41 and 73, still ridiculous. The only member of the 40-50, 40-60, and 40-70 club. And I think a lot of people were surprised at him being unanimous, despite those stats, because of the good year that Mookie Betts had.
Yeah, up until maybe the last month, I thought like it was close. I think there was one point where I would say it was close at
100%.
Almost could have gone either way, but still was in Acuna's favor. And then he's like, no, F this. I'm just going for it. I'm stealing every base. I'm hitting every home run. And he his last,
he went off in September, man.
Yeah.
He went off. I remember the moment where it switched. They were like neck and neck. And then the Braves went to the Dodgers. They went to LA and played them.
Oh, yeah. LA. He proceeded to hit, I believe, a grand slam, homered in all 3 games, including the hardest hit ball of the entire season by anybody.
I think it was like 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, 121.2.
At least.
Something.
That's crazy, man. I remember them showing Mookie Betts' face, and he was just like, he made that face. And I was just like, oh, Ronnie's not messing around right now. He is going nuts. And he hit like, I did not think that 40 bombs was in the works, because I think at September 1st he had maybe 31, and he just proceeded to pop off.
Yeah, in September, October, which would have been like maybe one game or two in October, he had 11 bombs and 11 stolen bases that was absolutely wild. 11 home runs, 11 stolen bases, and his OPS was 11-11 in September, October. That's crazy.
11 was the number.
11 was
the number.
Insane.
Jeez, what a year.
What a year.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, by the end of it, nobody was surprised. Nobody was coming close to touching him either. 8.2 WAR season.
Crazy. Even though Mookie Betts had 8.3 WAR, he was just not very valuable in the field compared to Mookie, which I think is why a lot of people wanted Mookie to take home MVP, especially those in Los Angeles.
Yeah, obviously you got to take defense into account and value that for something, but I don't know, 168 OPS plus, like, I don't know.
Crazy. WAR isn't end all be all either. It's just like, you got to take a deeper look. I mean, it's a very valuable statistic, but it's not like the only thing. Even it says in its definition, it shouldn't be the only thing. You got to take a deeper look into the stats.
You can tell that to the warriors on Twitter, because there are some people who
absolutely
live and die by it, and then they're even like, oh, I only go by Fangraphs WAR, I go by the B WAR or whatever. And it's like, okay, let's just
absolutely,
let's just enjoy people being good at baseball. We should start the at the dish WAR. We'll come up with some sort of formula that just benefits our favorite players.
I'll grab a torch and a pitchfork and go to town with you. Absolutely. I'll send you a torch as well.
Perfect. We'll get Jeff
know.
Probst to snuff our torches at some point.
Yes. Jeff Probst, the real MVP. He should have been unanimous.
Shout out to Jeff Probst and Survivor.
Yeah. Imagine he's listening. Imagine.
He's one of our 7 listeners.
Yes.
Although I just want to say shout out to everybody for clicking on our YouTube and giving us some love over there. Over 200 views in a week, which is pretty crazy, more than I was expecting.
That's super cool. Like 40 some hours of watch time on the free agent episode. That's legit. I appreciate you all for watching.
We're going to keep dropping these episodes. There's going to be more and more for us to talk about, and we'll keep going anyway. You're the real ones.
I do have a question for you, actually. If we're looking at the MVP voting, either league, is there anyone that stands out to you like on the list as far as like placement, or you're surprised they're even on the list or anything like that?
Not really for the top, 3. Ohtani, Seager, Semion's kind of the order. I think everybody figured it would be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess like everybody who got at least one vote kind of makes sense. I mean, the 10th place MVP is kind of. There's a lot of guys you could throw in for 10th place. You got me like Lou Bob, Jordan, Adolis, Judge, Bichette.
I'm kind of surprised that Lou Bob wasn't higher. I think that's one of the surprising things to me when I'm looking at the AL MVP race. I figured he'd finish like top 8 or something.
Probably just has to do with the fact that his team, like they were so bad. I mean, the Angels are bad, but Ohtani is so much better than everybody else that it doesn't really matter if his team is bad.
Yeah, Lou Bob is not Ohtani. He's very great. He's a great player, but definitely not on Ohtani's level. And really, I mean, no one is. No one is.
And then in the NL, I mean, Castellanos, Friedel, Schwarber. Swanson,
I'm surprised to see William Contreras up at 11. That's the one thing
was his
that
year that good? I didn't really
me.
pay that much attention to Milwaukee, but apparently he must have had a pretty good year.
He had a pretty good year. I didn't really pay attention to Milwaukee either. I love Wild Bill because he was with the Braves and was an all-star last year with them, but 289 average, 17 bombs, 825 OPS as a catcher. That's a very good year. And I think he did a little bit better behind the plate defensively as well than he is really known for. And I think maybe honestly, right this second, if you ask me who's the better player, him or his brother Wilson, I'm going William, Wild Bill.
What about him or Sean Murphy?
Ooh, that's tough.
Was that trade, looking back on the trade?
I think it's Murphy a good trade.
Yeah.
I think it's a great upgrade defensively. And I think if Sean Murphy didn't fall off so hard with his bat in the second half, he'd probably be up in the MVP voting as well. But he had a dreadful second half. Absolutely dreadful. Full of dread.
Dreadful.
Yeah, geez, I need to learn how to enunciate.
There's a lot of Braves on this list. Ozzy got some votes. Marcelo Ozuna got some votes. I mean, I know he had 40 bombs, but
crazy that he got votes. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have said you're out of your mind. A 900 OPS.
Yeah, that's
did not
insane.
See that coming after his April.
You got old Marcus Semien with his third place MVP finish. Second time.
He's such a good player,
he finished third behind a second place teammate.
That's pretty wild too.
He's got to be one of the most underrated players in the league, even still, I think.
I think he is too.
Doesn't really get talked about that much. And
he really doesn't. He had a couple decent years in Oakland, nothing to write home about until 2019 when he popped 33 bombs, had an OPS close to 900. And then, I mean, he followed up that year in 2020 with kind of a not so great year. But the last 3 years have been insane for him.
He got off to a really slow start last year, 2022. He signed that big contract, and then I think he didn't hit a home run for 6 weeks or something.
I forgot about that.
And then he just poured it on the second half to have a solid season.
Yeah, finished with 26 bombs. And that's a heck of a counting stat when you start out with one in your first 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
So when we talk about all the awards that have been handed out over the last couple of weeks, was there any results that were surprising to you or disappointing? Or
you know what? I feel like this was a year of awards that were just it was almost obvious with a lot of the awards, especially I think rookie of the year. It was pretty obvious who was going to take it home in both leagues. I think Corbin Carroll was absolutely going to run away with it. Same thing with Gunnar Henderson, even though Bibby had quite a good year and Tristan Costas ended up having a solid year. And I think Josh Young was very good as well. But I mean,
yeah,
he got hurt.
Yeah. Because he wasn't even top. He didn't even end up in the final three, Josh Young, right?
No, no, it was Henderson, Bibby, and Costas.
Right.
Costas ended up turning it on as well the second half. I remember him. He did not start out so hot.
No, and
but
I think.
What about you? Is there anything? Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I just think he's also like a pretty defensive liability, but like everybody on the Red Sox is, they're so bad defensively this year.
Yeah, they're like the Phillies of the AL. They got a lot of just natural DH bats in there.
Yeah.
Costas, Devers, probably someone else that I'm not thinking of as well.
Jaron Duran was good for them this year. Verdugo has some moments here and there.
Yeah.
Who else? Because I mean, their offense was really good. Justin Turner was really good for them this year.
I can't believe how old Justin Turner is. I didn't realize he's 39.
Yeah, there's lots of people that are like, oh, maybe he could be a good third baseman for the Jays, and I'm like, I don't know if I want like a 39. Like, I know he had a good season, but it's kind of like those are high risk.
Yeah, that is high risk unless it's like a one year deal and it's like the last piece or one of the few last pieces that you need, and it would make more sense for them to go after a lefty in that age range if you're gonna go after someone in that age range.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as far as awards, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Everything was pretty cut and dry. There weren't really too many surprises. The biggest disappointment for me, and it's like I understand why, is that Dalton Varsho didn't win a Gold Glove.
Oh my God, I could give you a rant about Gold Gloves. Like, oh my God,
it's kind of the biggest. I don't know, the biggest joke of all of the awards, but I mean, him especially.
It really is.
The problem was that like Kiermaier was injured, and we didn't really want to always run two lefty outfielders in our lineup, so he would end up playing a lot of center field. But he Varsho finished with the most defensive runs saved of any player in baseball this year, so probably would have won the Platinum Glove had he won a Gold Glove, but he played too much center field, so. You know, props to Stephen.
Center field.
I know. They just need to do three outfielders. Just you play the outfield, you're an outfielder.
Exactly. It makes zero sense to me.
Especially if you're going to add something like a utility Gold Glove and utility Silver Slugger. Like, I don't know.
Okay, the biggest snub, I think, or one of the biggest, to me, especially since I have a laser eye focus on the Braves, since they're my team. I love Bryce Harper. I love him way more than I love Marcell Ozuna, because I do not love Marcell Ozuna. But Ozuna should have taken home the Silver Slugger for DH in the National League, if we're being completely honest. If we're looking at it as an objective standpoint, Marcell Ozuna hit 40 bombs, had a 900 OPS. Bryce Harper played, half the year? If a little bit more than half the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Bryce Harper. 293 average, 21 bombs. OPS was 900. So that's very, very similar to both players, but Ozuna hit 40 bombs, over 100 RBIs. You got to give the Silver Slugger to him in that case. I'm not a Ozuna fan by any means, but if we're looking at it objectively, stat line next to stat line, that award should have been Ozuna's.
Yeah, I can't argue with you on that. I mean, I don't even know how, like, who votes for these or how these awards get handed out.
Just no idea.
Is it like the baseball writers, like everything else? Like, do they vote on this? Who votes on who wins Silver Sluggers and Gold Gloves?
No idea. I don't know what they're looking at. Eddie Rosario as a finalist for a Gold Glover is laughable.
Oh man, Whit Merrifield was a
terrible
finalist. He had a negative or less than 100 OPS plus, and he was a finalist for a Silver Slugger for the utility position.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
I mean, obviously, he came nowhere close to winning it, but
who won it?
Gunnar Henderson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I didn't realize. I don't pay attention too much to the Orioles, but I didn't realize he was shifting around positions, I guess, as much as maybe he was.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he played everywhere, but let's take a quick look because I think it's mostly just third and short that he would have played.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is one of the first years.
Almost half and half. 84 games at third, 83 games at short, and DH'd 11 games. So there must have been some games that he played both. He played 167 games plus DHing.
A game started at 68 for third base. Game started at shortstop 64. So I'm guessing he came in maybe as a late inning replacement, possibly in some of those games.
Yeah, maybe either
DH and he's shifting over.
I know Baltimore really likes to play matchups, righty-lefty matchups too, because like the Jays play them a lot, so they're always doing that, and they have tons of guys who can kind of play all over the place. Because they have guys like Jorge Mateo, Adam Frazier, Gunnar, Jordan Westberg came up and played a bunch. Guys kind of playing all over the place, so.
That makes
Ramon
sense.
Arias, all these guys played a lot. Got to fit him in.
Sense.
So I think there's a lot of guys playing kind of half a game here and there.
Makes sense. I mean, they did win 100 games, so they know what's up. They can play a matchup or two in that case.
I guess that's why Brandon Hyde won Manager of the Year, right?
Looks like it.
Actually, that was one I was kind of surprised of. That Skip Schumacher won the NL. Like, I know Miami had a really good year for Miami standards, but I don't know if they kind of squeaked into the playoffs.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I don't know why Craig Counsell's up there. Also, I'm not 100% sure on that. They did have a pretty decent year, but I've heard not many great things about Counsell or that he's overrated. Maybe they just say he's overrated because of the deal he just got with Chicago.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Maybe that's why. I feel like Torey Lovello should even. I mean, he is fourth. Brian Snicker with third place. I mean, it is hard to argue him finishing at least top three with them being one of the best offenses ever this past year.
Probably the easiest team to manage ever.
I know. Like, what does he do?
Put anybody out there. They're going to hit 20 to 50 bombs, and you're good. You don't need to really worry about defense. Your pitching is good.
100%.
Your pitching's good enough. So just let the guys swing the bats.
I'm honestly surprised Dave Roberts isn't higher on this list. I feel like this was the thinnest Dodger roster we've seen in a while, and they still popped 100 wins.
Won 100 games.
Crazy.
I thought they were cooked halfway through the year.
I did too. Like, my tweet in February was starting to look real good.
But they just win.
They just find a way, man. I say that about the Rays all the time. The Rays always find a way, but like the Dodgers found a way this year.
Yeah, the player development and the pitching coaching and whatever their pitching strategy is, everything they do as far as pitching for the Rays and the Dodgers, it just works. Everybody comes in there and just shoves.
It's incredible. I mean, Jason Hayward had a great year. Like, never would have thought I'd say that in 2023, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you lose they lost so many guys and didn't even seem to miss a beat when it all came down to it at the end of the year.
No. Jason Hayward, OPS plus of 117 in 334 at bats. I think the pitching for them was the biggest surprise. Like, they had probably so many injuries, just devastated by injuries. I looked at a depth chart the other day, and Bobby Miller was their ace at this point, just because Kershaw's gone.
It's like, how many people did they have start a
man.
game? 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 different guys started a game for the Dodgers this year.
That's wild. That's a lot. That's so many, man. Oh my God.
The Blue Jays, I think, had 8, and their 8th person started the very last game of the year. A guy they called up just to throw in the last game because our postseason positioning was done, and we didn't, because the other thing was if we needed Gossman to pitch the last game of the year, he would have pitched if we would have had to win to get in, but we didn't have to. But
that makes sense.
Yeah. Besides,
just decided to give it to someone random. Just like get out there and try to be somebody.
Literally, they called up Wes Parsons from AAA. He finished the year pitching 4 innings, giving up 9 earned runs to Tampa Bay with a 20.25 ERA. Just a throwaway start.
Wow.
But besides like our top 5, I don't know if you want to, like, if you look at Manoah even started 19 games before he got sent, like before his year was done.
You would not think he started 19 games. That's pretty wild to me. I would have said, if you would have asked me how many games he started, I would have said 10, 12 max.
I don't know where the Jays finished at the end of the year, but there was a point, I would say like 2/3 of the way or nearing the end of the season, where I think we led the league in games where our starters gave up 0 runs. And surprisingly enough, Alek Manoah actually had 2 starts where he didn't even give up a run this year. Which you wouldn't have thought. 2 of his first 6 starts, actually, but also in 2 of his other first 6 starts, he gave up 5 and 7 runs. So,
oh boy, oh my God, that's pretty wild.
He actually had 2 other starts where he only gave up 1 run, and like 1, 2, 3, 4 where he gave up 2, but then he just had a bunch where he gave up like 5, 6, 7 runs. So
that's rough. Like 3, 4 innings, 6 runs given up.
But then we had Hyunjin Ryu come back kind of at the exact perfect time. He started 11 games for us. So there were only 4 games all season for the Jays that like weren't started by one of our main starters. We had the very last game of the year, and then Trevor Richards, one of our long relievers, came in and started 3 games or 3 or 4 games. The first time Manoah got sent down, he started 3 games. So that was it. Like, I was looking, I think it was one of the Braves teams when they had all those guys that had, I think it was 6 or 7. They only used 6 or 7 different guys to start a game in the year. I think that's probably one of the lowest.
One of the like 90s Braves teams.
Yeah.
With Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine.
Yeah, they were starting like 35 games a year each.
Yeah, they were.
Especially Maddox. That was when you had like 34, 35 starts a year. And the Braves team this year, they had a lot of guys start games for them. I'm looking at it right now. They got their top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. They had 16 guys, 16 different starters at some point this season, which is crazy for a team that won 104 games. 16.
They just mashed the ball to death.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild.
You want to know a crazy stat about Jose Barrios? He has never missed a scheduled start in his career.
That's wild.
Like,
that's insane. That speaks to something right there.
Like, if you look at 18, 19, and then 21, 22, 23, the last 5 full seasons, 32 starts every year.
That's amazing.
And 12 in 2020, which I think, if you do the math, would work out to 32 if they did a full season. And then he had, like, his other couple years, he was up and down or didn't spend the full year in the minors, but he's never missed a scheduled start in 7 years, 7 or 8 seasons.
That's crazy. And as a Toronto fan, you got to feel good about Barrios now. Like, you got to feel good about the year he had. He had a pretty solid year.
I always thought that 2022 was going to be the outlier year, and it's looking that way, like a 5.23 ERA. Because he still, if you watched every game he pitched, he had as many quality starts as Kevin Gausman did, the same amount. I think they both had 16. But in the starts that he was bad, he was really bad.
That makes sense.
But if you look at like every other year, he had never had an ERA besides his like call up year, which I don't really count that. He's 22 and started 14 games and had an 8 ERA. But every year since then, he's had his ERA has been between 3.48 and 4. And then like this year's 3.65. I'll take that.
Speaking of Barrios, I forgot what he got traded or who the Jays traded for him.
Yeah, we gave up Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson, who I think we had got previously from the Mets or something. So I don't think either of those guys has done anything. I know Austin Martin was kind of at the time seemed like a big piece to give up, but hasn't really done anything in the minors. I don't think he's played in the bigs at all yet. So
yeah, I don't think so. I know Simeon Woods Richardson was kind of highly touted, or from what I remember. Not 100% sure, but it seems to look like it's working out for the Blue Jays so far. I mean, that remains to be seen, depending on what happens with those two prospects.
Yeah, I mean, last year, who knows what was going to happen with Barrios, and his contract was looking bad. But now, with like the contract guys like Aaron Nola and stuff are getting, Barrios' contract looks like a bargain after last year.
Really
any guy
does.
who can start every single game is going to give you a sub 4 ERA and makes like under $20 million a year. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, one of the best abilities is availability. And speaking of trades, it is officially hot stove season at the Dish. And did you see where the big trade happened in Seattle?
Eugenio Suarez going over to the Arizona Diamondbacks for a pitcher I don't think I've ever heard of. And then Sebi Zavala, backup catcher.
Yeah. To your Arizona Diamondbacks.
To my Arizona Diamondbacks, D-backs for life. Bring back Jake Lamb and you'll win the World Series next year.
Absolutely. Build the statue. Build the Ray Lamb statue.
Yeah. What do you think of this trade? Like, to me, it seems like I don't really understand what the Mariners are kind of doing here. They're just maybe trying to shed a little bit of payroll.
I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. I know they just got Luis Urias from the Red Sox. Do they plan on starting him at third base with the year he had last year? I mean, it makes me think this is the way Seattle's GM is. Could this be a salary dump? Like, I've seen nothing but anger from Seattle fans on the timeline. Nothing but anger. And I can't blame him right now because Carlos Vargas, he's not established. He was in 5 games this past year. And Sebi Zavala, he's been just a backup catcher. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I guess it just means Tom Murphy is gone. So
Tom Murphy's season is over, apparently.
I don't know. Are they going to I just don't know where they're going next. What do they do next?
Do they have Matt Chapman on the brain? I don't know. Like, there's some other guys out there like Candelario could play third, but it just doesn't make sense to get these two players in return who have done nothing.
Pretty good defensive third baseman already who has like 40 home run potential.
He had 50, didn't he, one year? 49. He had 49 in 2019.
So I don't know. I don't really know the thought process behind it. But
right now it screams cutting payroll right now.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the direction you'd think like with the last 2 years, they're kind of like they just need to get over the hump.
They're a couple pieces away from being extremely good. I mean, they're already solid. Their pitching rotation, I think, is some of the most balanced front end to back end rotations out there. Like, you got some really good pieces in the lineup, him being one of them or formerly one of them. So it just doesn't make sense when you're so close to, on the verge of making the playoffs. And once you get to the playoffs, I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else happens this offseason for everybody, but especially, them with just where they've been the last couple of years and what might be in store for them this year. But the exciting part about all this is that things are starting to happen. Moves are starting to be made.
Yes.
The White Sox, I think, picked up, amazing infielder Paul DeYoung.
That's right.
So I guess
it's all the young season, baby, in the South Side.
He's coming to replace Tim Anderson. So look out, White Sox fans.
And speaking of White Sox, they just went to my Braves and snagged a couple guys for a reliever. And at first, when I first saw this trade, I thought it was a bit of a bummer, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So the Braves did get Aaron Bummer, lefty reliever, for a whole bunch of dudes: Nicky Lopez, Michael Soroka, I think Jared Schuster, Braden Shoemake, and someone else.
Yeah,
I think I got all the names right. And on the surface, I was perplexed, I think is a great word. Not an English major, let me remind you. But perplexion is what came to mind at first. But then I realized that the Braves were probably going to non-tender a couple of those guys. And I think the biggest piece that we're going to be missing is Nicky Lopez. He was going to be making $4 million next year. So we shed a little bit of payroll. Aaron Bummer has a couple years left of control. Jared Schuster, Braden Shoemake, they're not exactly major leaguers. Michael Soroka, that one hurts. That one hurts me the most. Love Michael Soroka. He was an all-star in 2019 and just had some bad injury luck with his shoulder and his Achilles. Another re-rupture of his Achilles after his initial rupture of his Achilles. So that hurts. I really hope he turns it around. I really hope he has a really solid major league career. But I think this is a solid piece to the Braves bullpen and ends up being a solid trade. Might as well trade some guys that you're going to non-tender for someone you're going to use for a couple of years anyway, in my opinion.
At first glance, it was kind of weird because you just see kind of a 5-for-1 and you expect the one to be kind of a bigger name than Aaron Bummer. But yes. I think it does make sense for the Braves. I mean, it's got a pretty solid bullpen, add another, decent lefty in there with a couple of years, and just get rid of some guys that you weren't gonna be using anyway. So
absolutely.
And then you went out and signed Reynaldo Lopez, didn't you, too, for a year? A year or two?
For 3 years. It's a $10 million per year deal.
Oh, yeah, right.
I think there's some
3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some stipulations in there. I think he's making $4 million the initial year for some reason, and then there might be a buyout or something like that if they don't want to keep him. But they're trying to stretch him out a little bit this spring. They want him to be in the position where he could throw, some innings, 4 to 5, maybe start some games. I mean, he used to be a starter. So I don't know if they're trying to have him maybe solve their starting pitching depth issues. But if he ends up not starting any games, he's still a very solid reliever.
Yeah, it's always good to have, a little bit of depth of kind of proven guys who can give you some innings or just, come in and shut the door for 1 or 2 in the middle of the game. So
most definitely
a couple solid moves, and the Braves are always down for something big. You never know what they're Sonny Gray maybe didn't get Aaron. I would love
Sonny Gray. Didn't get Aaron Nola. They made an offer. More
than Philly. I heard
they did. But Aaron Nola wanted to go to Philly, and that's understandable. It's comfortable. They love him out there.
They're good. Like they went to the World Series and then almost went to the World Series the last 2 years. So it's hard to leave that. It's
hard to argue that
when clearly your organization is committed to trying to win, right? It's hard to leave that.
Definitely committed. They've definitely thrown some money out there. Like I think they might be one of the rumored teams to talk to Shohei.
But shush, nobody can know when Shohei has his meetings, or you're on the shit list.
You're fired.
If anybody finds out that Ohtani was at the Chop House having dinner,
I don't want to know. I don't want to know how he likes his steak cooked. I don't want to know the sides he prefers. Don't want to know what he drinks. I'm assuming he only drinks water, and that is it.
You just want to know when his jersey goes on sale. That's pretty much
it. Like I don't even care if it goes on sale. It could be the most over, what resale value. I don't even know. I'm not a businessman. A markup. That's the word. Could be the highest marked up jersey ever, and I'd be fine with it. I'm not going to buy it, but if it's $500 to get him on my team for a jersey, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that people maybe like, I don't know if don't realize or don't think about initially when you think about signing Ohtani. Like any team should want, you're gonna get your money back. Like you're gonna you're gonna 100%. Sell more tickets, you're gonna have more eyes on your team. Just in general, obviously, like the international market and the Japanese fans are gonna start watching your team more. You're gonna sell a
TV
ton
deals
of merchandise.
So much merch.
Yeah, there was somebody on Jay's Twitter who said, if Ohtani signed with the Jays, like, would you go to more games? Would you buy jerseys? And everybody is like, absolutely yes. I replied, I'm like 100%. I would buy a Shohei Ohtani jersey instantly if the Jays signed him.
Yep. I bought tickets to see the Angels in KC when they came to town. I bought them like 6 weeks in advance. I was just like, I'm hoping I luck into a Shohei Ohtani start. I didn't luck into a Shohei Ohtani start, but what I did luck into was Shohei Ohtani hitting a laser over the right field fence. And on the very next pitch, Mike Trout goes over the left field fence. So I can die happy now.
Yeah, so to see two guys go back to back, that's those are two pretty good guys. I saw Vlad Jr. and Brandon Belt go back to back this year. So that was kind of cool.
That's super cool.
Out in Seattle.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Very cool.
I wasn't sure if I would, at that point in the season, I wasn't sure if Vlad would hit another home run for the rest of the year because he won the Derby and then he hit a home run in his very first at bat after the Derby, and then he didn't hit one for like it was like another 2 weeks almost, and then he hit 2 out of the 3 games that I saw him. So I was happy with that. Somehow finished with 26 on the year, so I'll take it.
That's what's up. It's tough to. I went to a Braves Phillies series. Speaking of the Phillies, and the Braves only hit 1 home run that entire series. I was in the bathroom for it. I'm such an L spectator. Yeah, it's bad. It's embarrassing. I can't believe I just let everyone know. But yeah, you can't unknow that now. So
was that recently?
No, it was in 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like
Ozzy Albies hit the first hit the bomb.
That happened to me once. I was in Minnesota at Target Field for a J series, and we went to the game a little bit late. We were like, oh, whatever, we'll by time we get their seats, it'd be like the second inning or something. And as we're walking on the concourse, the Jays hit back-to-back home runs that we didn't see. So it's
that's so brutal, man.
You got to be kidding me. So
I hope they hit some more for you.
Since then, I don't remember if they hit any after that or not, because we went to a game the next day too. I think they maybe did, but since then I'm like, no, I'm like, I'll go early. I'll get my food and like my beer or whatever. And then I'm just going to like sit there basically the whole game. I'll just have to go to the washroom or something. I don't like to get up because I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss one pitch.
You can't miss it. It's rough when you do. It's not fun. You hate to see it.
All right, so I want to talk about a little bit of maybe rumors. Big rumor that I saw, obviously being Jay's fan, Jay's Twitter, is I saw like not a million. Let's say 20 people post today about the Chicago Cubs are apparently pushing really hard, or there's a good chance they're going to trade for Bichette to come play third base in Chicago. And I was like, what are these people talking about? This is like, I don't think there's any truth.
That is
to
wild.
It.
I don't think there is either. How many years of control does Bichette still have?
Bo has 2 more years. So last year before this season, they bought out his arbitration years. So he's getting, I think 2024, he's getting about 12 million. And then 2025, I think it's about 17 or 18 that he gets. And then when he's done that, he'll be like 27 years old. Something like that.
Okay.
Ish. So
he's going to be a young free agent whenever he hits that market. If he does hit that market.
Yeah. Him and Vlad are going to be free agents the same year after the 2025 season. We'll see what happens with those guys. But the Blue Jays have absolutely no reason to trade Bichette. You're not really going to upgrade from that. No. The asking price from the Cubs would be insanely high. I don't think he wants to play third base. Like, I know he loves playing shortstop. Whether he's, a good defensive shortstop or not can be debated. But if you look at what shortstops are getting paid, even if you're not good defensively, look how bad of a defensive year Trey Turner had this past year. Obviously he picked it up offensively, at the end of the year in the playoffs. But you look at what those guys are getting paid compared to like most third basemen, most second basemen, especially because Bichette could easily be the best second baseman in baseball, but that's like a $15 million a year pay cut, even to be like the 10th best 100%. Shortstop. I think after Altuve, I think the AAV just drops off for second baseman. Maybe Marcus Semien and Altuve would be up there, but other than that. So,
100%. I agree. It just doesn't make sense to trade Bichette when you're kind of in like a win now mode, unless you got multiple guys who could be in that lineup every day. Unless you got like 2 or 3 guys who would contribute immediately, who would be around for a decent amount of time. And then I don't know if are you willing to mortgage the future for Bichette if you're Chicago? Like, what would it take? I imagine it would take a couple really amazing dudes and amazing players and a couple top tier prospects. Like, you would think Pete Armstrong would have to be in that deal.
Yeah, him probably. A lot of people like the Jays who are firing back at it. They're like, we want Christopher Morel, we want PCA, we want maybe another major league ready guy and another whatever minor league guy, whatever. But I don't think the Cubs are wanting to do that. The only thing it sounds like they're saying is the reasoning for the Cubs to do it is that they have more to show Ohtani if they're trying to pitch to him like, hey, we're making these moves, we're going to bring in Bichette, we're going to sign you. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're the Blue Jays, like, obviously you don't want another team to have a better shot at getting Ohtani than you, so you're gonna be we'll keep all these really good core young players we have, Bo and Vladdy and Kirk and our pitching staff, and like we'll add you to that. Maybe we'll add somebody else, a Yamamoto. Absolutely. Who knows, like something crazy. Like, it sounds like everything I keep seeing is the Jays are ready to do something crazy and do something big and look out for some stuff to start happening.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see.
That would be just a crazy move. I don't think it would happen. I don't think that. I give it a 1% chance if that. Yeah,
it makes absolutely no sense. Like,
not to me. It does not make sense to me.
If he played the whole year, probably would have finished top 3, top 5 AL MVP voting. He would have led the league in hits for sure, over 200 hits.
That's a lot of hits.
Like at the time he got injured at first, he was hitting like 315 and had like 160 hits, and then
wild,
like
still finished up with that 175.
Yeah, couldn't quite get back there after the injuries, but
wild.
He's not going anywhere.
No, and like I heard that Yamamoto wants to go to a team where there are other Japanese players.
Well,
so that's a big tell.
Yusei Kikuchi on our team.
Yes. Is Ryu still there? Is he going to be there still?
Ryu's Korean also.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, I'm so insensitive.
No, he's a free agent. So there's like talks about maybe bringing him back to be like a 5th guy. We're in a weird situation with our 5th starter. Who knows what's going to happen with that. I saw Lars Nootbaar post a video or something of him golfing with Yamamoto. I saw that as well.
I saw those as well. So maybe St. Louis, they just revamp that whole rotation. Just to get
Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, and then Yamamoto. What a weird offseason that would be.
I saw this. I saw someone tweet out, basically a Cardinals fan tweet out a tier list, basically of what he thought would be great starting pitchers. He basically listed every single free agent starter in a tier, and in the tier which said won't watch one single start, he listed Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. So it looks like he's limiting himself to 60% of the Cardinals games, watching them, assuming everybody makes their starts.
That's
But I just thought that was hilarious.
yeah.
So like
that's ridiculous.
so maybe Yamamoto to the Cardinals? Would that make them contenders or closer to contending, or how close are they to contending?
It's hard to say because after, going into this past season, you thought they were going to probably take the division or at least be close. And then it all just kind of fell apart. And pitching was obviously a big issue. Why? I mean, like, I know Wainwright wanted to have kind of his last season and stuff, but
that was rough to watch.
Pumped for 90% of his starts this year. So,
yes, very rough to watch. I actually saw one of his starts in person, and that was a tough scene. I mean, not for me because I'm not a Cardinals fan, but tough for everyone else. I felt bad for Wainwright. It was just, it looked miserable.
Yeah, it was a tough way to go out, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be exciting to see what happens with Yamamoto. I just want, you want kind of like a big chip to fall. We're starting to get some stuff happening. Obviously like Suarez moving, Bummer moving, and then a couple of these pitchers being signed. Nola's kind of, I guess, the biggest one so far. But
it wasn't really like a surprise. It doesn't feel that big just because he went to his former team. So it really feels like nothing happened.
Right, and it's not exciting.
No, it's
unless
not
you're
exciting
a Phillies
at all.
fan, I guess. Like for everybody else,
yeah. And then is it like
boring?
Is it even exciting if you're a Phillies fan, or is it just like breathing a sigh of relief? Like I don't know if it's like, we got Nola because you've had him for years. I feel like it's a return from the edge of your seat moment or exhale moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's still exciting. Absolutely.
I don't know too many Phillies fans, but nobody's going to be disappointed with it over there.
Absolutely. I don't mean that in like a bad way, but it's a different excitement to bring in like a new guy than bringing back someone who's been there. It's a great excitement, each one of those, but it's different, if that makes any sense.
That was like for us, like after 2021, we're like, are we going to re-sign Robbie Ray after his Cy Young year? And then we didn't. But then we got Kevin Gausman, and it was like almost the exact same contract those guys got. And it's obviously worked out well, but
it's same thing with Freeman.
Exciting to Freeman gone and Matt Olson.
Yeah,
before he was even really gone.
I know, right? It was wild. Like I had been, whenever I wasn't working, I'd be refreshing Twitter it was bad. It was bad. Refreshing Twitter so much.
Can you imagine being Alex Anthopoulos in that situation and just like how insane like that week or that couple days would have been?
It's brutal. It is brutal. I'm so happy he like puts away his emotions when making these moves. You could tell he was torn up about it. I remember the interview. He was like holding back tears basically that he just that he had to make
to just kind of like let go of a guy like Freddie Freeman. Like
it really is. But if you do that, if you do that, you're gonna set yourself up for success and make it easier to make those tough decisions with players you love, like what he just did with Michael Soroka and Kyle Wright too. It's kind of how you got to be.
He's never been afraid to make moves.
Yeah, never. I'm lucky. I'm a very lucky boy.
He was starting to, he turned around the Jays in early 2010s and then
that's
dipped.
Awesome. Oh man, that's brutal. But I think who else is in a brutal situation? I think as far as GMs go, the Yankees.
Cashman's got to go. He's just been there too long. Like I think you just need somebody new. Like
I agree.
Been there forever, like 20 something years, hasn't he? Almost.
I think so. He's like, you know what? I think we're pretty good. And like no one thinks that. No one thinks that.
Yeah.
And that savage comment he had about Stanton, where he was just like, it seems like injuries are just a part of his game. I was like, wow. Yeah,
that's what you want to hear, right?
Yeah. And I think what someone pointed out when he said that was that Stanton's agent was also, I think, Yamamoto's agent or someone crazy, someone big like that.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. Yeah.
Like that's a bold strategy to, firing off comments like that.
Yeah, I don't
When
know
you
if
share
you're
the same agent.
if you're a Yankee fan. I think right now you're basically just hoping all these young guys pan out. Like I don't think anybody's really looking to go to New York. Maybe you get a guy like Bellinger. Like obviously you can afford whoever.
Yep, absolutely.
But it just
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like really quite the destination for guys that it was, like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, it really isn't. It's a different time in New York. And this is the first time that I can remember, maybe since the Jeter days, where you have prospects actually coming up that were through the farm system.
Yeah.
Like, which is interesting. I mean, I really like Jason Dominguez. I really like Volpe. And it sucks that Jason Dominguez got hurt because he had such a good sample size. Like, he did so well in his month or so in the bigs.
Yeah. Yeah, he was playing really well.
It was really, really refreshing to see because he had so much hype, still has so much hype. And it was, he had 31 at bats, 258 average, four home runs in those 31 at bats. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. That's pretty solid. I mean, such a small sample size, though.
Yeah, you take Verlander deep in your first game. It's not a bad thing to have on the resume.
I forgot about that. That's pretty wild.
Game 1. Yeah, if
That's
I'm a
incredible.
Yankees fan, I'm just kind of, I don't know. I'm not really happy right now.
I'm not either.
As me being the opposite of a Yankees fan, it kind of makes me laugh. I don't really care. Like, down with the Yankees. They can go eat dirt. I like some of their players as players, but I can respect that for a long time you just kind of like stepped on the throats of the league. Like I get it. Like if I was in that position, I would do the same thing.
100%.
I think a lot of other fan bases were always jealous that, like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets, like they're just, they just buy everyone up. But it's like, you're not really mad at them. You're just mad that your team doesn't do it. Which is why it's been nice as a Jays fan to, all we've really kind of seen is like ownership is behind it. They're ready to shell out money. This last year was the first year the Jays were over the luxury tax. And doesn't look like we're afraid to do that going forward. So, where were the Braves? They were like top 5 in payroll last year.
I think
5
they
or
were
6.
I think they were 5th, maybe even 8th. Actually, let me try to take a look. I don't remember off the top of my head. They were. Jeez, it's asking me to sign in. That's crazy.
Oh no, they weren't as high as I thought. They were 10th.
I think they were 8th. They were 10th. That's wild.
They were just behind the Jays. 206 million. But still, like if you're top 10 in payroll in the league, like, I mean, you look at these teams: Mets, Yankees, Padres, Rangers, Phillies, Dodgers, Astros, Angels, LOL, Blue Jays, and the Braves.
LOL. Tough scene, man. Tough scene.
Even I can't believe the Rockies are 14th. Like the Rockies just seem like a team that should be like bottom 5.
I can't
10.
believe they're 14th, man. Like, I don't understand why they gave Chris Bryant that deal. They have to be one of the poorest run franchises, like one of the worst GM decisions out there.
Yeah, when's the last time that team was even like relatively relevant? Like they just haven't been in forever.
Not since 2007 when they went to the World Series.
Off the craziest run of all time to finish the season.
I don't even remember that. All I remember was Ubaldo Jimenez just throwing in the World Series. That's all I remember.
They went like 13-1 to finish the season and then swept everybody up until the World Series. Like they won. It was like
that's great. I had
20
no
out
idea.
of 21 games, and I think they like didn't make the playoffs until the last game or two of the year. Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Insane run. And then made the World Series.
Wild, man.
And then just got smoked.
I just can't believe they gave the Cardinals $50 million along with Nolan Arenado to get nothing in return. And then not trading Trevor Story when he verbally says, "I am not coming back to Colorado." That makes 0 sense.
Yeah, they made some really weird, questionable moves.
That's like if a 5-year-old got a hold of your controller while you're doing a sim style franchise in MLB The Show. That's literally what it is. It's embarrassing.
Contracts, buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Terrible, man. Let's see. What's the projected payroll for 2024 right now? Who's leading? Apparently the Phillies are number 1 in payroll. The Mets, and then the Yankees, then the Astros, Rangers, Braves, Cubs. Toronto Blue Jays, number 10. They got money to spend.
yeah. We'll see where everybody's arbitration contracts and stuff come back this year. But oh yeah, the Blue Jays are not. We are buyers. We are going to be buying something this offseason.
Gun to your head.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did trade. I don't think we're going to trade any. I feel like we're more. Let's trade prospects for guys that can play. Will they trade like Manoah? Who knows? That's such a weird situation where like, what is his value?
Really is, man, because it could be. I would say hold on to him one more year because it doesn't feel like his value is very high right now.
Yeah, no.
If it was me, I'd let him. I'd keep him for this year, see what happens. If he bounces back, maybe then trade him.
You're not paying him anything. He's making nothing. Yeah. I think his contract was only like $700,000 this past year. Like it's less than $1 million.
Wild.
He's only 24. He's still young. 25, like 24, 25.
That's why you don't talk smack about Garrett Cole.
I love that he talks smack about Garrett Cole. I don't. And he just, he's just rent free, lives rent free in Yankee fans' heads. Yankees fans hate us, and I am all for it. All they do is call Manoah and Vladdy fat and make fun of their weight. And like, you know what? Could they be in better shape? Yes. But like, get over it, man. Like, you guys have basically 100%. Ran the AL East for 30 years. Like, let some other teams be good.
Right. They haven't been. When's the last time we actually feared the Yankees? Like, because me as a Braves fan, I had been scared to death of the Yankees until, just like 10 years ago, maybe. As it was always like.
Feared is a weird word. Like, because even 2022, they were in the ALCS.
Yeah. I'm more scared of the Mets at this point, as far as like Steve Cohen the last 2 years. I was scared that he was just going to get everyone. And then the Mets were just going to run away with the East over and over and over again. Like, especially with the Correa thing. And
I'll never count out the Yankees because, in my life, they've won way more than they've lost. So I'll take a year like this year, but I'll never count them out. They're always going to be in the mix. And for the most part, like they had tons of injuries and like underperforming pitchers and stuff this year. Because their rotation going into the year was scary. Like they signed Carlos Rodon, Severino, Cortez was coming off that crazy year. Obviously Garrett Cole. But besides Cole, like nobody had a good year. Michael King was good at the end of the year for them, but that was kind of it.
I didn't realize he started games for them at the end of the year.
Oh, he was unbelievable. The Jays played them twice in the last 2 out of our last 3 series of the year were against the Yankees, and he faced us twice. And I think we scored 1 run in 2 games.
And he did have a great year. Looking at it, it looks like he did a little bit of everything. He had 6 saves, 9 games started, like 100 some innings, a very great K per 9, solid whip, very good year. I wonder, what does he start out next year? Does he start out in the rotation? Start out in the bullpen? That's an interesting.
Yeah, who knows? I think it'll depend what if they acquire anybody or anything else happens over the off season for them.
Yeah. I would see what he's got as a starter. It's like that's so valuable nowadays.
He's filthy, man. He's good.
Yeah, he is. Agreed. Like gun to your head right now, though. What is the percentage that the Jays sign Ohtani?
That's
gun to your
such
head.
a tough question.
Over under 10%.
Over
10%. Okay.
But I don't know how you measure that. Like, if
I don't either.
if he signed somewhere else, do I have to like see if he was in the top 5 teams? Is that maybe?
I don't.
Is that
I don't
information
know.
ever going to be known to anyone?
It will never be known. No. Okay. What percentage do you think you give them to that they're going to sign Ohtani?
Yeah, I don't know, 20% maybe. I think there's 100% chance they make him like a significant offer. 100%. Like they're going to. I'm almost would guarantee it, unless they come out and they sign Yamamoto and Bellinger before that, or do something like that. Trade for Juan Soto.
That makes sense.
If any of these things happen first, then maybe not. But I don't think there's any way they're not going out and offering like at least $450 million to Ohtani, if not more than that.
You have to. I think everyone's
like, they can afford it. The company that owns the Blue Jays is worth a lot of money.
You think the Oakland Athletics reach out to Ohtani? Like, I don't. I think every team should like just inquire, but I feel like if you're the Athletics, like why bother? And I hate that for A's fans, but it is like, why bother,
they
man?
Need to just sell the team. Like the team, like even the lowest ranked team in the league's probably still got to be worth $1 billion. Like just sell them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what do we think about, speaking of the A's? The A's are moving. They're going to Vegas, baby.
It's so interesting, man. I feel bad for A's fans for sure. I don't know anything about Oakland. I really don't. I know I've heard bad things about that area, but is Las Vegas the place? Is it a correct place to have a professional baseball team? I just feel like they're not going to be able to get amazing loyal fans just because it's Vegas, and like it's more of a tourist destination place. I feel like
it depends if they're any
for
good or not.
Team,
I think
that's
if they can be competitive when they move there. If you look at like, I don't know how much you follow hockey or not, but the Golden Knights moved to Vegas and they made the Stanley Cup final like the next year, and they won last year.
That's amazing.
Like,
and I'm not been there. Like, I'm not saying there's
many years. Sorry, they haven't been there very many years, and they've like been good. So if you can be good. And I mean, you're Vegas. I think you're going to draw a crowd like almost no matter what.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I'm not saying there can't be loyal fans in Vegas. It just doesn't.
Yeah, loyal is. I don't know.
Maybe it's not the right term, I guess, because you're probably going to. I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
Plus, someone brought up like they're going to have to play day games in the summer in Vegas when it gets to like 115 degrees or whatever. Like that could be an issue.
Let's build a dome.
That makes sense. You would assume it has to be.
Like if you look at like Chase Field, or is there anywhere else who plays in the desert? That's kind of Arizona.
I think it's Arizona.
Or like Texas, like both of all the. Like if you look at like in Arlington or in Houston, they're both like semi-covered or fully covered. Like Texas is like fully indoors. So I think you'd have to build something like that, but you could build something crazy if you're in Vegas.
Yeah, you have to. I feel like. I don't know. I think it would be fun. I would love to go to a game in Vegas one day. I've never been to Vegas, but it's another reason why I would go. So maybe you do get
either. I have also never been to Vegas. There's just too many. It's too much there.
It's a huge state. I lived in Reno, Nevada for 3 months, and once I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm just going to drive to Vegas one day, just to go." And then I look at my maps, and it's 8 hours away, and I was like, "Geez,
far away? I had no idea."
Yeah,
I live in Canada, so everything's far away from everything.
That's true. And I worked weekends, so I was like, "Do I really want to drive during the week?" I don't know.
I saw
it's a long way.
Some TikTok about some guy in the UK, and he was talking about how he was like, "Oh, Americans think this this 1 hour and 48 minutes isn't very far away from London. Like, and he showed like some Google Maps trip of this. And I'm like, an hour and 48 minutes is nothing. Like,
it's nothing.
If you live in North America, do you know how far apart everything is?
It's so
like,
far, dude. It's so far. Oh my God. I took my first work assignment and I drove from, I had to drive 4 days to get there.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from West Virginia.
West Virginia? Okay.
Yeah. I was visiting my dad in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my assignment was in Reno, Nevada. And I took 4 days to drive. Before that, I had never been west of Tennessee. And it was fun driving across the country the first time. Every time after that sucked. It's terrible. Driving sucks.
Yeah. It's a lot. That's like the closest MLB place to me is Seattle, and it's about a 9-hour drive for me.
Dude, that sucks. I got to drive 9 hours tomorrow too. Like, that's a terrible drive. 9 hours. That's rough, man.
Yeah,
like, if you go to a game, you got to go to like 3.
Oh yeah, I went to the full series against the Jays in
Good
July.
Stuff.
So
Smart
totally
man.
worth it. Met my cousin there. He flew down and I drove there, and then it was nice to like have a car there, but also
that's cool.
The brutal thing was it ended up being the same weekend as back-to-back Taylor Swift concerts. So everything was just so expensive. Hotels, Airbnbs, everything so expensive. Parking was ridiculous. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, because in Seattle, T-Mobile is right next to the football stadium, right across the street. So that's where the concerts were. And then the 2 days, the Saturday, Sunday that the concerts were on, it was day games. So the games were letting out as like everybody was starting to go to the concert, and it was like this crazy, ridiculous mix of, so I don't know how much you know about the Jays series in Seattle, but it is like Canada floods down. It's 75% Jays fans at an away game.
That's wild, man. That must have been fun.
Wild, dude. It's so much fun. It's like, the games almost sell out. So there's like 40,000 people there, probably 25 to 30,000 Jays fans. So, and the Mariners fans get into it because you're just kind of going back and forth. And then obviously it was brutal because Teoscar Hernandez walked us off in the first game.
Former Blue Jay legend.
Former Blue Jay.
That's rough.
But it's just like Canadian fans in blue leaving the stadium as all these like teenage girls in sparkles and pink are going to the football stadium. It was like the craziest mix of people I've ever seen. And then just
that's
so many
hilarious.
people. It's basically 100,000 people in a 2-block radius. Right.
Yikes.
Over 100,000 probably. I should send you one of the pictures that I was from that weekend. That I didn't take it, but it was just a picture of like, because there's this big street that kind of goes down where it's just walking, and they have like food vendors outside, and then there's like sports team shops and whatever, just right outside the stadiums, but it's just flooded with people.
Yes, I might need
it
to
was,
see
it was
that.
crazy. It looks like they just won the World Series or the Super Bowl or something, but it's just Blue Jays fans
wild, man.
and Swifties. Yeah.
Just all together.
Yeah.
That's wild. Why does Taylor Swift like go to cities that we are around?
I don't know. So she can clear $1 billion in a year, I guess.
I would retire like so fast.
My cousin and I looked just for like shits and giggles. We're like, how much is, if we wanted to go to a Taylor Swift concert, how much does it cost? And the cheapest ticket the day of was like 600 American dollars, I think.
That's insane. I would never do that. I'm not like a big music guy anyway. I'm a podcast listener on the road nowadays. I listen to like the same 400 songs over and over and over again.
I love your stream playlist. Man. Your stream playlist is like full of, because we're like in a similar age range. It's not, you don't listen to a lot of like newer music, which I'm not, we're old people.
Yeah, we're super old, man.
You get a lot of like classic hip hop and stuff in there. And I'm always jamming out to the music that you play in your stream. So
good stuff, man.
So if you guys don't already follow, go to, the show Noob on Twitch.
Yeah, appreciate it. Streams have been popping off. It's been fun. Appreciate you hanging out.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for today, unless there's anything else you got.
I think that's about it for me off the top of my head. I feel like we covered a bunch. And we just got to leave something for the next time.
Oh, there's always more things to talk about. But probably by next time, Ohtani will be a Blue Jay. We'll just do a whole podcast about that. So,
yeah, Yamamoto will be a Brave. Maybe they'll just sign Shohei just to bring Yamamoto in, just to give him that extra incentive.
The dual package. Yeah.
Yeah, might be a duo package. That'd be wild for whatever team he lands on.
I wonder how long it's going to be before Murakami and Roki Sasaki come over too. It's got to be in the next few years for both those guys.
Didn't Roki get hurt recently?
Did he? I don't know. All I saw was highlights of him throwing 103-mile-an-hour heaters and striking out like 20 guys a game. So he's like 20 years old still. Like he's so young, 21 maybe. So
he really is.
Even Yamamoto's only 25, I think.
That's wild. Roki threw a perfect game at 20 years old, striking out 19.
Yeah, he struck out like 13 guys in a row one game or something. I saw. He's got some crazy stats for being a baby, pretty much. And his card in MLB The Show was disappointing. Like it was good, but not good enough.
I couldn't hit him, and I couldn't pitch with him. The double whammy.
I just felt like his forkball didn't sink enough, and it was like too fast still. So it's not nearly as effective as a John Donaldson forkball. We all know those are impossible to hit.
And I will never pitch with Randy Johnson ever again.
I saw somebody tweet about, or I think it was Ochev tweeting about, if you use John Donaldson in this event, like something. And I was like, my lineup in my pitching rotation is like Randy Johnson, P5, John Donaldson, Roki.
Yep.
I'm like, whatever. I had John Donaldson
in there too.
I'm trying to get people to quit. It's the event. I don't care. I'm not trying to play full 3-inning games. And if somebody's going to quit after seeing my lineup, perfect.
Absolutely. I don't even have John Donaldson P1, or I think I might have just got him P1. So I need to pitch with him, just because I haven't.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Go play some mini seasons.
Oh my God, I'd rather. I just finished the Mexico City Series program, so I clearly hate myself.
Why would you even bother doing that now? To get Aussie?
So yeah, I'm still like 50 cards away, so that was clearly worth it.
I hate myself so much BR to get all of the rewind packs over the next couple months.
I hate BR, man. I hate BR so much. It's so bad.
Brutal. Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast too. We should just we'll do like an MLB The Show review just for fun, because like we played it a lot.
I'd be down. Don't threaten me with a good time. Actually, I probably need to sign up for therapy afterwards.
There's a lot to say about that game this year.
It really is.
But all right, everyone, we appreciate everybody listening. Again, as always, you can find us if you want to see our faces. Go check us out on YouTube.
We also talked a lot about the Jays, and if you like walk-off home runs and reliving moments, go follow Tango over at his YouTube channel.
YouTube.com/@Tango85.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Peace. Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.